E3. It really is a magical time for video gamers. Mike Tendo here. I wanted to talk a little bit about my impressions of E3, everything that kind of came out of this past week, what I liked, what I didn't like, and just kind of open up the floor to you guys. I want to hear what you liked and what you didn't like, and what you think of what I liked and what I didn't like, and kind of share your opinions if you do disagree, if you agree. Let's hear it. So we're going to start off with the Sony press conference. In all honesty, I'm going to be honest, I am not thrilled about any of these new systems. Yeah, I mean, the Xbox One and the PS4, I think if I was to go with one of them, I probably would pick a PS4 over an Xbox One. And I think primarily because I think there's a better relationship with indie developers, and I seem to have more of a, how can you say it? I think I enjoy the indie games nowadays more than the big AAA titles. So a lot of these games that are coming out now, like Destiny and all these titles, it's just not for me. It's not something I'm interested in. I'm sure they're great games. I'm sure they're well developed, and I'm sure that people are going to love them. But, everybody's got different tastes, and my tastes are more with the retro theme, and I don't know, when it comes to gaming, I have a very certain mindset. First off, I'm not a big multiplayer guy. I like fighters and brawlers, like beat 'em ups. That's kind of it. Puzzle games are cool. So I like some of that stuff, but some of these like shooters like Titanfall and all that stuff, I need a single player campaign. Like, I need to be able to plow through a game on my own before I can even touch multiplayer. I would say there's some rare exceptions to that, such as Smash Brothers and Mario Kart party games. So with that said, I'm honestly not really going to touch too much on the PS4 and the Xbox One. I really like the PS4 white console. I think it looks really sharp, really sleek, and if I was to get one, if I was to get choose, I would probably say I would go with the white PS4. That looks really cool. But, I'm holding out for those indie games that are coming to the PS4 to come to the Wii U, and I'm really a very happy Wii U owner. When it comes to Microsoft, the one thing that I will comment on, well, two things. Anything to do with Rare, because I was such a huge Rare fan growing up. Ever since Rare jumped on board with Microsoft and, Microsoft bought them out and everything, the company has kind of shoved Rare into this little corner where they can just kind of play nice, and their IPs are taken from them and, applied to other developers, like Double Helix taking over for Killer Instinct. I mean, that's just terrible. And Killer Instinct was one of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo, and to see it turn into just another bro beat 'em up, this fighter that, just doesn't really seem like it has a lot of depth to it. It just seems like it's all about flash and not about anything in particular that I'm really kind of fond of. It didn't have that tongue-in-cheek humor with the characters. Everybody is serious, everybody is pissed off and angry, and I don't know, just Killer Instinct, now that they're making the season 2, I don't know, plus the whole download thing, there's certain titles when it comes to downloadable content or downloadable indie games that I'll go for. So, for example, Abe Hawkins and the 1001 Spikes just came out. That is a fantastic game if you own a Wii U or any of the systems, Xbox One, or Xbox 360, whatever it's out on, get that game, because that game is really good. Fantastic title. Obviously, it's a retro-themed game, but anyways. So when it comes to downloadable titles, I don't want to download a game that I can get in a retail store on my system. And so I feel like they really honestly should have not gone the subscription route with this game, because here's the thing, once the server shut down, that game is done. And that's really the big thing that a lot of people don't talk about, they forget about. And I mean, we've seen in the past year a bunch of games get pulled off of these downloadable markets, and you can't re-download them. Like, you can't get them unless you already bought them. Perfect example is the Donkey Kong Country trilogy. You can't get those on the Wii U's Virtual Console, but if you downloaded them already, then you have access to them. But that's just a perfect example of not being able to get certain games that you really want. And yeah, granted, with a game like that, with the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy, you could always just buy the games outright on Super Nintendo. But if you want them in high def and you want to be able to play them without, purchasing like a, Retron 5 or whatever, then you want to, try it out on the Wii or the Wii U. So it's kind of a shame that Killer Instinct kind of went that way. But yeah, Season 2 is coming out for Killer Instinct. I'm not that impressed. I feel really bad for Conker fans. I was a huge fan of the original Conker's Bad Fur Day for the Nintendo 64. That's a great game. And it's funny because when they brought it to the Xbox and they re-released the original on the Xbox and kind of like, really gave it a huge bump in visuals and, changed up some of the multiplayer maps, so, which, by the way, have not aged well. I'm talking, of course, about the original N64 maps. Those have not aged well. I actually haven't really even played that much of the original, or the remake of the original N64 game on the Xbox. But Conker fans have been waiting, like 8 years for a new Conker game, and nothing. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, E3, they're just like, oh, by the way, you can play as Conker in this random game. Like, I don't know, just kind of felt like a spit in the face to all Rare gamers and, gamers that were big fans of Conker's Bad Fur Day. Anyways, so let's talk about Nintendo's presentation for a little bit. Now, I really love the whole look and feel of the claymation characters in the beginning. Very funny skits, very funny commercial stuff. I thought it was great. I thought the whole presentation was very professional, very well done, and really funny and enjoyable. The one thing I will say, I feel really bad for Mother fans because, the Star Fox fans obviously got their answer, because at the end of the presentation, we got pretty much a confirmation for Star Fox on the Wii U, which is amazing news. However, Mother 3 fans, that little insult with the claymation characters saying, oh, well, we want Mother 3, and for them to just be like, kind of like crap all over Mother 3 fans. I mean, yeah, it's funny, yeah, it's a joke, whatever, but I mean, me personally, if that was designated for like Metroid fans, I would have been pissed. I would have been like, all right, so now you're gonna bring it up, but you're gonna insult me by doing it. I don't know, I laughed, but if I was a Mother fan, I wouldn't be. So anyways, let's get back to Star Fox for a second. So Miyamoto made a comment about Star Fox Wii U about the story, and that story wasn't important, and I'm a little worried about that. I'm really worried that they're not going to have a good story, or they're just gonna have like a Mario Galaxy 2 sort of thing, where like they previously have had like story, like in Mario Galaxy where they had like a ton of story, and then in this new Star Fox Wii U game, they're just gonna kind of like gloss over the story, or even like reboot it, or like get rid of characters that have already been established. I don't think the Star Fox franchise is headed in the direction that other game series like Sonic or maybe like the Mega Man X games were, where they're just like faceless robots or faceless, furry characters that, nobody really cares about. I still think that the Star Fox series has some legs to it, and that it really doesn't need to be rebooted right now. So I really do hope that they do put more focus in the story, because I think it is important. I don't question the gameplay though. I have faith in Nintendo. I think that it's gonna come out amazing and that we're all gonna friggin' love it. I thought it was funny that even though they announced that there was no Mario game coming out, there were like 3 Mario things that were coming out, like Mario Maker, the Captain Toad game, which, both look pretty fun. But I thought that was kind of funny. The Yarn Yoshi game looks freaking amazing. That is going to be a day one for me. That game looks great. I love the art style, I love the yarn, and I loved Kirby's Epic Yarn too, so I have a feeling I'm going to love this as well. What else? No new Mega Man. That one kind of shocked me, honestly. I mean, like, I was really hoping, I had my fingers crossed. I was hoping that Capcom was going to come out of the woodwork and just be like, yo, guess what? Mega Man 11 or something. But instead we got some random shots of some statues and just whatever, dude. Like, Capcom, I don't know. I don't even know at this point. Sonic Boom did not look that great, honestly. There were some frame rate issues in the trailer that they played. I know it's not final, but I mean, it's E3 and this is coming out later this year, so I'm hoping that the frame rate is a little better. I don't mind the rest of the characters as far as the character design, but Knuckles is the only one that really bothers me. The bandages are whatever, that's just weird, but the fact that he's like huge like really bothers me. I don't know. The rest of them I can deal with. They all look pretty much the same, but Knuckles just looks too different for me. And supposedly there's like some cave woman or something that you can, you know, play as or as part of the group, and that just like totally doesn't fit in really. So I don't know. We'll see how that game goes, but honestly, I hope they revert back to the old formula, or at least like, you know, just reboot it and make it simple. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy. That's it. That's all we need. Maybe Metal Sonic, Robotnik. That's it. So Splatoon looked really fun. I gotta admit, I can picture playing that with people online. The voice chat thing, I don't know. I've mixed feelings on it. I haven't really tried out Nintendo's voice chat. I don't have a headset, and I also really am not a big online gamer, but this game I'm actually pretty excited about. I feel like it's going to be like Team Fortress, like Counter-Strike type of game where it's just a lot of fun. Alright, so 2 Zelda projects, Hyrule Warriors and the new Zelda game. The new Zelda game, that first shot really hooked me, and I thought, alright, this is going to be really cool. This huge like open world that you're going to be able to go to. The only concern that I have is they claim it's going to be open world, and they claim it's going to be you can pretty much go where you want. But how do I put this in a way that doesn't make me sound like an old fart? I miss Zelda being Zelda without ridiculous conventions. So, to give you an example, the latest Zelda game that came out for the 3DS, Link Between Worlds, a fantastic throwback, but still staying very fresh and very familiar at the same time. Very difficult to pull something like that off, but they did it. So now we're going in a completely different direction, and they're trying to bring these conventions from the older games back, where I guess like this idea of exploration, they want to bring that back, which I get. But I don't want it to turn into Skyrim, because the more I see the potential for something like that to happen, the more I get worried that it's not going to be Zelda anymore. It's going to be like every Western RPG out there nowadays. And nothing against Western RPGs, just not my style of gaming, honestly. That's what it boils down to. Hyrule Warriors is super awesome. I'm really excited about this game. The only thing I'm kind of like, what? Is Midna. Midna didn't really change in terms of like her style, and I was kind of hoping that, you know, with the look and change that the game developers have created for Link, Zelda, and Impa, you would think that for Midna they would maybe try to change it up, add a little something here or there. I don't know. I mean, it looks really fun. The fact that there's so much going on, graphically it's very impressive, because you've got hundreds of soldiers, you know, all fighting, and you know, everybody's getting blown up, and you see, you know, Link come down with this, you know, megaton hammer or whatever. It looks awesome. It looks really fun to play, and I think it's going to be very well designed. The only thing that I'm really worried about is it's Dynasty Warriors with Zelda, basically. So with Dynasty Warriors, I haven't had much experience with the series, which is strange because I love, you know, like hack and slash and beat 'em ups and all that stuff. But the only thing that worries me is I played Samurai Warriors 3, and it just didn't mesh with me. I don't know. the map layout was really confusing and I never knew where to go to do certain things. So I hope that they have a better tutorial system in Hyrule Warriors as far as the initial, because games don't come with manuals anymore, so who wants to go boot up a game and then boot up a menu just to look at the manual? I mean, give me a booklet so I can flip through it so I know how to play, but the specifics of, you know, so you have a character over in yonder who needs help, so, you know, is there going to be something on the map that's going to be able to signify where they are? Because in games like Samurai Warriors, like Samurai Warriors 3 that came out on the Wii, I was completely lost. I was like, where do I go? What do I do? So those are just some concerns that I have for Hyrule Warriors, but otherwise, day one, by far, absolutely. All right, let's talk about Smash Brothers. Smash Bros. I'm gonna pick up both games, obviously. I'm a nut when it comes to Smash Brothers. I get super excited about these games. I waited for Brawl at midnight. I pretty much bought a GameCube for Melee when it launched, and it pretty much ruined my college career. Yeah, I was really into Smash Brothers. But here's what I can tell you. So, I'm totally on board with Pac-Man. Seriously, like, that's awesome. There's a screenshot floating around online. I'll try to put it here in the video somewhere, but there's a screenshot of Pac-Man and Mega Man and Sonic on a Nintendo game. Like, mind blown. So, Smash Brothers, the only thing with the 3DS version when they were showing it off and they were showing like all the unique things and stuff that you can do, I was kind of lost. I was like, what is going on here? Like, what am I looking at? I was very confused by all these modes, and I know that they were trying to give a snapshot of everything that you're gonna see in the game, but still, the game's like what, like a couple months from being launched, if that, and here we have no idea what these extra modes are or how developed they are. I would assume that they're pretty far along because the game is inching closer to launch, but remember originally they said summer and now they're saying later than summer. So, you know, with a game like Smash Brothers, you need some time to play through that game and to play online and everything. So I'm hoping that they don't launch too close to one another. But overall, I'm pretty much interested in getting both the 3DS and the Wii U version. Definitely gonna be playing the Wii U version a lot more though, I can tell you that right now. What else? Shovel Knight, stoked for that, later this month. Already bought it. I contributed to the Kickstarter, so I'm psyched for that. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, that looks really cool. Though I was confused because it said it was the end to a trilogy, but there's a fourth game coming out for the Wii U and all the downloadable systems and stuff, Steam and 3DS and all that. So I guess I'm a little confused. So Shantae is a trilogy and then they're starting a new trilogy? I don't really know. But that game looks great. There were a bunch of other games that were announced for the indie games that I'll probably check out when they're further in development or closer to being released. But those are the only two games that I was really pumped for as far as indie games go. So that's kind of it. I mean, the only other thing I wanted to comment on is Metroid. So recently there were some things that were said about Metroid. This was kind of like post E3 or during the wrap up of E3, and I guess, pretty much everybody was like, where the hell is Metroid? And because honestly, you pretty much announce a game for every single series, but one of your most popular and most loved series, Metroid, just, we're not gonna even mention anything, no teaser, no nothing. I get that they're in the process of trying to work on development of the game, I get it. But you know what, I would have just been cool with just like a little, throw up a little trailer that's just like, this is really early footage, kind of like what they did with Star Fox. And just be like, this is really early footage, but this is what we're thinking about for Metroid. But they also want to, one thing that really scares me is they want to do, they want to make sure that they focus on crowds, both 2D and 3D, and create a game. I guess, as far as I can read from these comments, that they're saying that Miyamoto is saying that they want to create a title that is 2D and 3D. And we saw with Metroid Other M, that just doesn't work. You can't do that. So I'm really hoping that, you know, I was wrong about that and that I misread, and that they're going to keep things separate, because I'm all about a 2D Metroid on the 3DS. Like 2.5D, kind of like Metroid Other M, but without the crappy first person mode. Make something like that. That'll be freaking amazing. But if you're gonna do like a Metroid Prime style with like first person, keep it on the Wii U and don't put multiplayer on it. That's the worst thing you can do. Just make it a great, solid, single player action adventure game, and I think that you'll do well. As far as the story goes, you know, I really want to write an article on this, because there's just so much to talk about with Metroid, and I feel like I can't really cover it here. So I may do like some sort of post on the websites that I write for, like retrocollect.com, or maybe I'll, you know, figure out something. But I have theories behind a bunch of articles that I've read about what happened after Metroid Other M, the direction that the series is going to take, and who is and who's not going to be involved. So, I don't know, tell me what your thoughts are on pretty much all this stuff. I'm really interested to know what games you're psyched for and what games you are not psyched for. Also, I really hate saying this, even though I joke around and say, oh, you know, Nintendo won E3. But who did you really think, you know, won E3? Who had the best presentation? Who had the games you're most psyched for? For me, definitely by far and wide, Nintendo had the best presentation, and they had the most games that I got super excited for. So tell me in the comments below what you think, and thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more from this channel.